Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus elimination game edition of Locked On Lakers. The Lakers destroy the Grizzlies in Game 6, and we'll move on to the second round. It was a perfect game, Andy. We'll talk about it next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, and definitely on Saturdays, at least during the playoffs and after just incredibly fun Friday night elimination. Take that, Dylan Brooks. Always free, never going to be behind a paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can hang out with nearly 16,000 really happy and excited Lakers fans who are going to be jazzed up for the second round of the playoffs, Andy, because that's where they're going. They say elimination games are the hardest ones, Andy. Apparently not. 125-85. The Lakers just annihilate the Grizzlies in Game 6 in, quite frankly, a perfect game. No notes. I've got nothing to complain about here.
I tweeted that out during the game. Like, it is very rare that this happens in an NBA game, not specific to the Lakers, but just period. All 8 guys in the rotation tonight, and we will talk about this both some tonight and some for Monday, looking ahead to the next series, since the Lakers have a next series. But Darvin Ham shortened the rotation in exactly the way that I was begging him to do it, but it was down to 8 players. All 8 guys played very well, like all 8 of them.
And in terms of like heavy minutes, it was really 7. But Wenyen Gabriel was in there, for
and it mattered.
Minutes.
It mattered.
But let's the individual performances here are worth noting. D'Angelo Russell, 12 of 17, 5 of 9 from 3-point range, 31 points overall. Austin Reeves, 11 points, 8 assists, missed 6 of his 7 3-pointers, but did a lot of really good stuff otherwise. LeBron, a hyper efficient 22 points on 9 of 13 from the floor, including Andy, 2 of 5 from 3-point range for a guy who's shooting 16% from 3 in the series coming in. That's a nice improvement. Jared Vanderbilt, Andy, 3 of 8 from 3-point range as he made Memphis pay for completely ignoring him in every moment. And then the guy who controlled it and really was the most dominant player on the floor, Anthony Davis, 16 points on 6 of 9 shooting, dominated the glass, 14 points, dominated the paint, 5 blocks. The Grizzlies needed about halfway through the third quarter before they got to 50 points. And at halftime, Andy, they were 8 of 29 from inside the paint. 8 of 29. And that is due to swarming Lakers defense and the incredibly disruptive nature of Anthony Davis.
Yeah. AD Ham talked about after the game how he had voiced the idea of wanting to be elite defensively in this series. Darvin said the exact adjective he used was elite. And this was a series. And then the mother of all cappers in this Game 6 of AD just wrecking shop defensively. Like it is very ironic, especially tonight, that he received literally not a vote for Defensive Player of the Year, because there's no point in relitigating that. But it's very clear, if that guy plays enough games on a team that is good, he will get representation for that voting.
Yes.
If not win the thing outright, because when he's at the top of his game, there really is nobody in the league who can do all the things AD can do defensively, like all of them.
It was, and he was so locked in, because Lakers got off to a bit of a cold start. But it was clear how, and once they got going, once Russell started rolling a little bit, and LeBron had some early buckets, and they found some success. So buckets from Vanderbilt, just little pick me ups like that. It was so clear that the Lakers, as a group, anchored by AD, were, just airtight defensively. It was the Lakers have put in some good defensive performances since the trade deadline. Really one of the best defensive teams in the league. This was, I have not seen something like this. Because Memphis was not. Look, Memphis missed some shots, whatever it happens, but this was not. Them just blowing open shot up. And then eventually when they were getting some good looks, they were so spooked by everything that the Lakers were doing that they were seeing footsteps, hearing footsteps. And they were completely dismantled. And this is the same Memphis team that ran the Lakers off the floor 2 nights ago.
Yeah, Darvin mentioned after the game about how they made some adjustments defensively, looking to just blitz Desmond Bane. Like they really focused on the idea of, we are not going to let him get off screen so easily. We are not going to let him run off curls. We are not going to let him have any type of comfort zone whatsoever. They treated Desmond Bane in a lot of ways defensively like a number one option. And it makes sense because over the course of this series, he's gotten more and more efficient and prolific.
2 straight 30-point games.
Right. And they eventually just said no more. Mm-hmm. And they specifically looked to make Ja go right more often. And Ja was absolutely out of sorts in this game. 3 of 16 from the field for 10 points. And Dylan Brooks, he had a few shots early where you thought maybe. But here was the thing, though. The way everything else was going, it was the epitome of you want to let Dylan Brooks take shots. We actually don't give a bleep whether he makes them or not.
It doesn't matter.
If everybody else is missing. It turned out he went back to not making shots.
Yeah, he finished 4 of 11.
Right.
The 3 stars for him, because we talked on after game 5, like that was an and game for Memphis, where so for so much of this series, the Grizzlies had trouble getting their stars together and going at the same time in the same game. And that game 5 was an and game where Ja and Desmond Bane were both prolific as scorers. In this game, you got 5 of 16 from Bane, 3 of 16 from Morant, and 3 of 12 from Jaren Jackson Jr. So between the 3 of them, you're talking, what is that? 10 of 32, 42, 44, 10 of 44 from the 4. Santi Aldama was Memphis's best offensive player in this game. And anytime Santi Aldama is the best offensive player in a playoff game, the other team is going to win. No disrespect intended to Santi Aldama, who's actually a pretty good player. But
the Lakers are going to take their chances with that formula.
Cross your fingers and hope that works for you.
Yeah, and I mentioned at the top, Darvin shortened the rotation. He did the thing that I brought up a couple times, at least during this series, wanting to see and was absolutely adamant for Friday's show, wanting to see either, if not both, Malik Beasley or Troy Brown, one of them at least, out of the rotation,
right,
and adding Wenyen Gabriel as the third big during the non-AD minutes, just to add more size, more length, more defensive disruption. Darvin opted to take both Beasley and Brown,
which was, by the way, my vote
sure.
for when we talked about this on Friday's show. If you're going to shorten the rotation, and I don't think you can't do this for an entire series. You can't run essentially seven guys, I think, for a whole series. I think
you could have done it for half. I think you could have done it for half. I got to be honest. I think you could have done it for half.
Generally speaking, I think you're especially when one of your guys is 38 and the other, like, it is a very difficult proposition. But for games like this, it makes total sense. You don't need to figure out what to do with 10 minutes of Malik Beasley or the 14 minutes. Those can just go to the other guys. And like you said, it was like in the first half, it was 4 or 5 minutes or whatever it was of Wenyen Gabriel. Anthony Davis goes to the bench. The Lakers are up by 11. they get 4.5 minutes, I believe it was, of him being
Yes,
able
it was.
to. AD played the entire first quarter, which is not his normal pattern. Comes back in, the Lakers up by 12. So they actually increased that lead by a point.
Yeah.
And that was enough. Like, they would have done it again in the second half. They didn't need to, because the starters sat in the fourth quarter. It was, I mean, everything about this was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out at Cam Brothers during this game, things are going really well when the Lakers begin a fourth quarter in a series clinching potential game with both AD and LeBron on the bench.
Yep.
Because I can promise you, unless they were like down 55 to start the fourth, you're not going to start that quarter with both.
If they were up 17, those guys would have continued to put the pedal down.
Right, absolutely. Like you knew things were going great. They began that fourth quarter with D'Lo, Schroeder, Reeves, Rui, Wenyan, and the Lakers did not suffer in the slightest. Taylor Jenkins actually started pulling his guys before Darvin eventually pulled all of the starters. I think Jenkins sensed, like, it's A, not going to get any better. B, my guys are getting wilder. C, something bad could actually happen.
Right. It was funny. Like, teams can really unravel. I covered the Lakers series in Dallas, the year, the Kobe, Powell, Phil thing broke up.
They got swept by Dallas.
And you could tell that was going to get ugly.
Yeah, Odom and Bynum both got ejected in that game.
And it was not good for those guys. It wasn't, and Jenkins wisely didn't want that to happen with his guys. But I mean, look, everything about this Friday night lined up perfectly for the Lakers. The Lakers get now the advantage, which they badly need, of getting a rest, because Sacramento went into San Francisco, beat Golden State at Chase Center, which was surprising, I think, to a lot of people. Now the game 7 is going to be on Sunday, and means game 1 of the second round is not going to be till Tuesday. Lakers are going to be on the road to start that series somewhere in Northern California. But look, even if it's Golden State, like, people have pointed this out, like, they're one of the only teams that's like as old or older or whatever in terms of a lot of their guys as the Lakers. That is a tired team, potentially. So I mean, everything's looking good for the Lakers in either way.
Beyond whatever fatigue factor, the Lakers have
played them well. Yeah,
played them extremely well. I mean, to be totally honest, they've had more. Actually, I take it back. I was about to say they've had more trouble with Sacramento, but I will double check this for Monday's show. I don't think the Lakers and Kings have played post-trade deadline. I think all the games happened before the deadline. I will double check.
AD has played them once this year, so I don't know exactly how that lays out. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's not the same type of dominance that they had over Golden State. But look, this was supposed to be one of those nights where even if the Lakers won, like, everybody's sweating it out. It was just like, Lakers fans, you could pour yourself a drink at halftime and just wait for the clock to run down. Like this, there was no tension at all in this thing. It was fun to watch. Like you say, everybody played really well. There was something to pull from everybody who stepped on the floor. What the coaching staff did, this was peak Lakers. I can't imagine them being able to play much better than this. But what this was would beat a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So. Plenty to be excited about, plenty to look forward to. Starting, we will obviously get going on a preview for the second round as soon as we know who they're going to play. But either way, it is, second round against either Golden State, Steph, Clay, Draymond, or rekindling the rivalry with Sacramento. Either way, it is going to be just a bananas fun series that is going to look very different than the one the Lakers just finished. And I am excited to watch it. Reminder to everybody to check out Locked On Lakers on YouTube. We will be back, Andy, on Monday, but only after this.
Letting everybody know that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by eBay Motors, and for a championship team, even a team that is now in the second round of the playoffs, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit in. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can make sure every part you need fits right the first time around, and just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know that the part will fit or your money back. And just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you will be back in the game in no time. And after all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. So get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
All right. Great game on Friday. We'll see everybody Monday.